I would do a brief how to use a foam roller video. As you can see, I have my trusty 3-foot length, 6-inch round foam roller that I have had at my house for the last 10 years. It's got some wear and tear on it, but it's still got a lot of life and good use out of it. It's a little bit softer foam roller. Nowadays you can get medium density and hard density, and they're generally gradations of color. So the lighter the color, the softer the foam roller, and then you get middle gray, which is a medium density, and then you get the black roller, which is a firm or harder density. The softer density is for more relaxation. Medium and firm gets deeper into the muscle and is for people who like firmer, deeper pressure. I also have this foam roller, which was a recent gift from one of my clients. He really likes it. It's called an Add a Day foam roller. Add a Day is the company. And as you can see, it's all nubbly, and the nubs are meant to give you more of a trigger point or firmer foam roll, so it has a stronger, firmer density and can get more deeply into those knots and stiff areas, or the chronically tight areas, or for just somebody who likes deeper pressure. I don't always need that. Sometimes I do if I'm having hamstring issues or quad issues from doing too many squats. I will pull out the stronger density one, but most of the time I'm quite happy on my softer, longer length, old, trusty friend. So I'm going to set this to the side and then show you how I begin my work. I like to do this at night or early in the morning as I'm watching the news on TV. So that's a good time of day to do it. I start by coming to the edge of my foam roller and just lying straight back. From this position, it is elongating my spine, putting some traction by pressing on my thoracic spine here. It's giving me some lengthening traction in my lumbar spine. And I can tuck my chin and pull the back of my head out, and then it will also lengthen my neck. And I can just relax in this position. I can rest my arms down to release the pressure between my shoulder blades. Give myself a couple of good cleansing breaths, and just let the foam roller lengthen and release the general tension on the length of my spine. Usually after 2-3 minutes of this, I'm good, and I can go into the more specific areas with the foam roller. Another thing I like to do in this position is a couple of stretches. So it's good to just have your arms straight out, and that focuses on this area between your shoulder blades. But I also like to raise one arm up and have one arm down. That gives me a nice shoulder stretch and pectoralis and underarm lat stretch. Then I can switch and do the other side. Another good area to stretch while you're laying like this is your legs. So for some people, to straighten their legs would cause their back to arch, their lumbar to arch, which is not necessarily a really good thing. So I like to keep one leg bent and supportive while I lengthen out the other leg. And that gives a nice stretch to my upper quad, my hip flexor, into my abdomen. And then I can switch and do the other side. Once I feel like my back has lengthened and begun to relax, just in this position, I can come up off the foam roller and turn it horizontal to my back. From this position, you can get deeper into the muscles of your spine. So, keeping your knees bent to protect, again, that lumbar curve. I like to put my hands behind my head to support my neck, and then pick my bum up and start to slowly roll up the length of my spine, up and down. This relieves the tension on either side of my spine. The slower you go, the more your muscles will have time to take the impression of the weight on the foam roller and relax and not fight it. But the faster you go, the more stimulating and the more it will like wake your muscles up and get you ready to like do some exercise or loosen up. So it's okay to go whatever speed works best for you. I personally like the slower speed, just so that my muscles really do release the tension and don't fight as I'm trying to go too fast. I like to go just to the tops of my shoulders because I don't think the foam roller is very good on the neck. So once I get to the top of my shoulders, I stop. I like to do my neck with balls that I like to roll on, and I will do that in another video to show you the different ways that I can do my lumbar spine more securely and my neck more securely using rolling balls. But the foam roller is great for large muscle groups and generalized stress and tension, and that's what I like to use it for. So once I've gotten the length of my spine somewhat loosened up, if I'm having a lot of tension here in my back where my rib cage and my back come together, I can focus more on that area by getting the foam roller positioned and then dropping my knees to the side. And that will focus more on the area of my QL, which is the side of the spine muscles that attach from the hip bone to the bottom of the rib cage. They make you wiggle when you walk, and they can get really tight on a lot of people. And then I can switch to the other side and do the other side. Another area that you can get with the foam roller on the side is this part of the shoulder and the rib cage. You do that just by coming to your side. And you can roll right up into the upper shoulder armpit area, and that will loosen up the lats and part of the rotator cuff really, really well. You can also get the rotator cuff here on the shoulder blade from this position by just tilting sideways and rolling. And that does do a really good job on that shoulder tension. The next best area is glutes, hamstrings, and calves. For glutes, it doesn't work very well to do both of them at the same time. Glutes works better one at a time. So again, you just tilt a little bit to the side, and then you can get that glutes maximus muscle really, really well, one cheek at a time. And there is a muscle in there called the piriformis, which a lot of people have sciatic issues with, and you can focus on that by doing a figure 4 stretch, leaning over and rolling, and that gives a lot more pressure on the piriformis. And then I would do the other side, and then come straight down the hamstrings. Hamstrings feel pretty good. Just rolling like this. But as you get to the IT band and the other side, a lot of people have this area having a lot of tension. And again, you can get that side just by leaning a little bit over and rolling to the side. I do not recommend turning all the way to the side and pressing directly on the IT band and rolling that way. The IT band is a tendon and it does not like being stretched or having that much pressure on it. You would rather get where the hamstring meets the IT band or where the quadricep meets the IT band, and you can accomplish that by just tilting a little bit over as you're doing the hamstrings and not doing a full side pressure, which is also very, very painful and uncomfortable and not necessary. The next area would be the calf muscles. I like to start at the bottom, lift up, roll forward. If this does not give you enough pressure, you can simply cross your leg over, put the added weight down, and that really will give you a lot more pressure. I don't need it. I'm going to go for the two side by side, and that's plenty of pressure for me. A foam roller this size is not great to use for the feet. Again, that's better to use a ball. But from the front of the legs, when you do a lot of walking or running, a lot of people get shin splints or tight muscles on the front of their shin bones, and you can do both shins at the same time quite easily just by doing this, back and forth. If you feel like you need more attention or more pressure, you can just do one and lean more heavily on it. Go more slowly, and that will really work out a lot of the tension in the front of the shins. Oh, that feels amazing. We've been doing an awful lot of walking lately, so this feels really good for me. And last but not least, with the foam roller, the front of the quads. Sometimes when my back is bothering me, I will just lay like this and let it stretch out my low back. This does feel good for that. But I get really tight quads. So all you do is army crawl on your elbows, up and back, down your quads. I feel like I'm rolling out of the frame. And again, for that IT band area, for me, the closer I get to my knees, the more sore. So I slow down as I get to my knees. Give the muscle time to respond and not freak out about it. And then because I often have tightness through my IT band and my trochanter, the thing about foam rollers is they don't feel good on bones. And you have a trochanter bone and a hip bone, go below those, don't roll over top of them. But for the IT band, from my quads, I can just lay to the front. This gets the top of my quadriceps into the beginning of my hip flexors. I can just lay on that area. That is enough pressure for me right now. It's a really good spot for releasing tension in the quads and the hip bones. And then I slowly roll that sore onto more of the IT, keeping the pressure more into my quads, but getting close to the side where the IT tendon is, and then I can work it all the way down. Definitely a tight and sore area. Okay. So that's enough for a full body session on a foam roller. You do that every day or every other day as you're watching TV at night or in the morning when you first wake up, and your body will feel really good after just a few sessions. All right, thank you.